Thumpers, welcome back to another episode of Hyper Heroes here on Hyper RPG, the penultimate episode of 2017. I think I freaked some people out because I said we're taking questions for the last two episodes of Hyper Heroes, and I put in parentheses 2017, and people were like,
said 2017.
people were like, what? I don't know. There's no more.
It's okay.
Some
people aren't that good at reading, but it's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Nope. These are the last two episodes. We're shooting these back to back. We're pre-recording these. We're all going to be out of town next week.
Yeah.
Hector, where are you going? Where are you off to?
Marikrima. Marikrima.
Your cream?
Marikrima.
Oh, Merry Crima.
I wanna wish you a Merry Crima. I wanna wish you a Merry Crima. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
Okay.
And this is the point where everyone stopped watching.
I know, right?
Where are you going for?
I'm going
holiday
to
break?
Massachusetts.
Oh,
that's
wow,
on the
nice.
eastern coaster of the United States.
Coaster?
Eastern coaster of the United States of America, near Boston.
Nice.
So it's going to be wicked pissa. It's going to be wicked pissa.
What?
Are you actually going to go to
Is
Boston?
that how they
Yeah,
talk?
probably.
Nice.
If you're
gonna
from
watch a Bruins
Boston, I
game?
apologize. Probably not.
No Bruins game for you, huh?
No socks. It's going to be wicked pissa. It's going to be nice.
Boston Bruins
Be
is
real
a hockey
nice.
team.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
not
that.
Boston Red Sox.
Not UCLA Bruins?
Not
That's-
UCLA? No.
UCLA
UCLA?
Bruins?
The UCLA?
I'd go watch a hockey game. I'd
You
go
should.
watch
You
the
should
Yeah, you
Bruins.
should.
Bruins.
Are they good?
Hell yeah, they're good.
They're no Kings, though, right?
They're actually won
dang.
more championships.
What's a
I'll give it
god
to the
to a
Bruins.
king? All right.
I'll give it to the
Okay,
Bruins.
give it to the Bruins.
Yeah.
All right.
Where are you off to?
I'm just going off the grid. Going to
Nice.
space.
That's a good place to go.
Going to space, outer space. Go spend time.
United States of Space.
Space. Going out to the dark side of the moon. I'm just family.
Any North Pole visits?
Well, that's how you get to space.
Gotcha.
You got to go visit Santa first, and then he takes you. This is my just preparation to see him.
This is how you prep
This
yourself
is
to
how
meet
you
Santa?
prep to meet Santa. You
Santa
gotta,
Claus, take me
be
to
the
the
Santa.
space, please.
Yes, exactly.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm going to San Diego for a couple days.
Ooh,
And
it's gonna
then-
be nice.
And then I'm going to Sweden.
Oh,
I'll be there all through
son.
New Year. I got a couple people hit me up on Twitter asking me if I'm going to be in Stockholm. I will be in Stockholm. I might throw out something on Twitter, and if I make it out to some local, I don't know a thing about Stockholm.
Oh, you're going to go to a local bar.
Oh,
you
I know.
will go to
Oh, no
a
worries.
good
You will
bar.
live at the
Someone
local bar.
on Twitter was already like, beers on me, and I'm like, be very careful with that,
Yeah.
because you're gonna go broke really fast.
Yes, you will.
Adam can drink like a mother.
Adam
yeah.
Lavick is like Karen Allen in Raiders of the Lost Ark. She's just like,
He's like Andre the Giant,
yeah.
where the beers are this big in his hand,
Yeah.
and he
Exactly.
drinks 32 of them.
So good. I'm super excited. I haven't actually spent a New Year in Europe in about 15 years or so. So I'm really looking forward to going back and seeing
time.
what that's all about.
Good
It's
time.
awesome, man.
There's gonna be a lot of snow. I'm super
Christmas
excited about
markets, a lot of
that.
snow.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
You're going to freeze.
I know. That's why I bought a lot of clothes.
Good.
Yeah.
So this is the second to last episode. Not a whole lot of news. I think mostly
Yeah.
because a lot of the studios and a lot of productions are slowly going into break time.
Yeah, they're on
So
vacation.
there's not
Hibernation.
hibernation. Everyone wants to spend time with
Yeah,
their family.
yeah.
So we're only really going to cover two major topics. And they're probably not going to take that long to cover anyway. And then we're
Because
taking
this suit is hot as fuck.
and then we're taking a whole bunch of questions from you guys. I went out through Twitter. A lot of you guys submitted questions, and I also went through our Facebook or our YouTube community tab. So thank you guys for interacting through that. It's been super, super helpful to gauge sort of your guys' feedback on a lot of the content that we're doing. That's been great. You guys have also been listening to the podcast. We've had people reviewing the podcast on iTunes, which is super awesome.
Nice,
If you are
nice.
listening to the podcast on iTunes or on SoundCloud or Google Play or wherever, make sure you guys are leaving reviews and letting us know what you think
Yeah.
about having the audio version. I know it's been helpful to a lot of people. So
5-star, thumbs up, like it,
the
share
views
it.
have been jumping up
that's
tremendously on
You
that.
three boys have a face for radio. Thank you for making it so that I only have to listen to you.
And not look at you. Yay.
We get it. We're ugly.
I know. That's why I'm wearing this beard.
Yes. And then next week's episode, we're going to be talking about sort of wrapping up our favorite movies of 2017, superhero and non-superhero. We were kind of talking about it before, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a tough list.
It
It's
is.
been a
it
really
is.
strong year for not just superhero movies, but I think movies in general. I think
Yeah.
people have sort of
Yeah.
underappreciated how good movies have been this year.
Yeah.
But
they've
it was
been pretty
also a case of like, man, I need to watch more movies. There was a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff
Totally.
that I did miss this year.
Just this month alone,
Yeah.
there's about 10 to 15 movies that have come out in the last few weeks.
Mhm.
Some of them are going to be expanding later on throughout
Yeah.
the year
Yeah.
because they have limited releases in LA and New York. But for us here, we have access to so many. There's been some really, really good ones.
Yeah, a lot of movies that I wished I had watched. And what sucks is that when I miss them and they're out, I probably won't get back to them for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So later down the line, Hector's like, "You should have watched this movie," and I'm like, "Okay, I guess
You
I'll
should have
watch
watched
it."
the last 7 Fast and the
I
Furious
know. I
movies.
should have watched exactly. That's what happened with the Furious series.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I stopped at 2, and then that's it.
Yeah,
No more. No mas.
you'll get around to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll make you watch something.
Eventually.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the first topic. The first topic is we're going to be talking about Matthew Vaughn wanting to save the DC movies. Maybe. Matthew Vaughn's been having a lot of conversations with Warner Brothers and DC about potentially coming in and maybe doing a Man of Steel movie. He's like, I'm just listening to you
I
spit
know.
hair out
There's
of
hair
your
in my mouth. Sorry.
You can bring it down, dude.
Nah.
Be like the guy in
Nah,
Home
bro.
Alone.
It's not authentic.
You're Santa's little helper.
It is
Bring it down.
Not authentic.
Okay.
But Matthew
Sit on a
Vaughn,
throne of lies.
Matthew Vaughn's been having meetings about maybe coming in and doing a Man of Steel sequel and or potentially some other projects. He had talks with Warner Brothers, and one of the things that he says is, I love the world of DC, and I've been talking to them at the moment about a few things. It's more fun getting involved with franchises when they're on the down, because then it's easier to make a good film.
Good point.
So if I got involved with a few of the superhero films out there that have been disappointing, it's going to be, if I do okay, I'll probably be better.
Mhm.
So, and he also talks about how X-Men 3 was a real low point for the X-Men franchise.
Mhm.
X-Men:
Not
Last
just
Stand.
that, X-Men
Oh,
Origins
yeah.
Wolverine
Oh yeah.
Totally.
That was
came out
pretty
a
bad.
few years later.
Yeah,
I would even put X-Men Apocalypse in there.
Yeah. Well, the thing with him is he came in to do X-Men First Class, and for him was sort of an advantage because then he sort of got to come in when it was at the lowest of the low
Mhm.
and help kind of rebuild that franchise. And
Yeah.
he talks about, how so much more intimidating it would be if, for example, he had to go in and make a third Guardians movie.
Or like jump
Because
into
James-
Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
You know?
'Cause
Yeah,
James
Wonder
Gunn
Woman
and like
2.
Patty Jenkins
Mhm.
nailing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But, so that makes it a lot more. Bye, Lucas.
Bye, my little elf.
Gonna miss you. But he was talking about how much more sort of pressure and how much more complicated that would be to go in and have
Yeah.
to sort of build off of these great movies. Whereas
Absolutely.
if you were to come into the DCEU,
Mhm.
I think general consensus is that Wonder Woman is sort of their greatest hit,
Mhm.
and now sort of having to play off of what happened with Justice League and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think it is sort of at a point where
That's-
you could
it's
help
a-
rebuild.
Yeah.
the
That's a really
franchise.
interesting, because when you said, save the DC Films franchise, it seems like such a clickbaity title. It
Yeah.
seems like such a but he literally says it's more fun getting involved when they're on the down. And
Yeah.
it's like, I
Yeah.
wonder. Matthew Vaughn is very honest, it seems
Yeah.
like, for a director at that sort of level with making movies that have that much money behind them. He seems like a pretty honest, forthcoming guy.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to play at Warner Brothers. Like did he even said that? Do
You
you know
know
what I
what?
mean? Like,
I think it's something that Warner Brothers has definitely recognized because their
Yeah.
movies, you know, in their analytics, they're running all the numbers. They're not performing, and to them, it's all about the numbers, the
Yeah.
money that's coming in. Those movies have not performed to what they expected. So
Mhm.
to them, they're definitely on the down.
Yeah.
mhm.
Well, he talked about also how he wouldn't want to come in and just kind of reinvent or kind of do the things that have already been done. He doesn't want to come in and do a Christopher Nolan style Batman movie.
Mm.
It's already been done.
Mhm, mhm.
And a lot of people took this as like he was being serious. I'm sure he meant this as a joke, but he talked about, screw it, let's bring in the Adam West Batman. Hey, you know what? If he can make it work
Yeah.
in that sort of a style of Batman, it's very different from what we've had before.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a very it would go in the opposite direction of where the Batman has been heading.
Right.
But if you don't want to be sort of reinventing things that have already happened, he's hugely influenced by Richard Donner's Superman. He would like to make a Superman movie that's in the vein of that, but also make it very modern and bring it
Right.
into our time and not make
Yeah.
it a 70s version of a Superman movie in 2017,
Yeah.
18,
Yeah.
19, or whatever. One of the things he was also asked was Fantastic Four.
Because he was a producer
He was
on
a
that.
producer on it. He apologized for it.
Oh wow.
But one of the things
he
that
legit said an apology.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
he's like, I'm sorry about that. But the thing that he said that I thought was super
So
intriguing was the person who was interviewing him asked him, is that something you'd be interested in? And he says, well, there's a lot of potential with the Fantastic Four franchise because it's essentially the live action Incredibles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing IP.
Uh-huh.
And he didn't necessarily rule out directing it because he's not sure exactly what he would want to do next.
Mhm.
He's going to do another Kingsman movie.
Okay.
But I thought that was super interesting to actually hear that from
Mhm.
somebody who was involved with the movie saying,
yeah.
because I think there's a lot of people, even last week when we talked about Fantastic Four, there were quite a few people who were like, Fantastic Four sucks.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, like
it's
the
not
comic
case.
itself,
Yeah.
the brand it sucks.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
That movie was very bad, but the brand
Yes,
itself is
yeah.
not
The brand
bad.
is- the brand is good.
Yeah, and I
great.
feel like a guy like Matthew Vaughn probably actually could do a really good work with the Fantastic
Probably.
Four franchise.
I
Yeah.
think I think he'd be good. I think he's good at doing like retro cool and like retro new. So even though I don't want to see the Fantastic Four set in the 60s, it's kind of impossible not to let the 60s influence the style.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So he might be somebody who can kind of bring that to life.
I mean, Sam
look-
Raimi kind of did that with Spider-Man.
I think he's
Absolutely.
thinking in the right vein, though. Look at
Yeah.
The Incredibles. They
Oh,
totally brought in that 50s sort of like atomic age style art and design to those characters. And even looking back at that story, even though the CG, the actual practical like effects of the wet hair and maybe the animation sometimes doesn't necessarily stand the test of time, the art design, the acting, like everything they did around that was so good. And that's why that movie, and obviously the story, it stands the test of time.
I think
Yeah.
it's so cool to hear somebody who was a producer on a Fantastic Four live action
Right.
movie to go, well, the Fantastic Four are live action Incredibles.
Exactly,
That's how good
exactly.
The Incredibles is.
That's how
Yeah.
good
That's
it
how
is.
good of a movie
Yeah.
it is. That
Yeah.
it's like it is
And
superseded.
what's crazy is that like there's no reason you couldn't shoot The Incredibles as a live action movie.
Sure.
you
Right.
know?
Sure.
Nowadays with everything that we have, you easily could do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's there. The blueprints are there. Just talk to Brad Bird. He'll tell you how to do it.
I know. That's all it takes. One of the things that also was he actually approached Mark Millar to potentially help him write this Superman movie.
Interesting.
Mark Millar, obviously, he sold off his company to Netflix.
Uh-huh.
So he more or less has an exclusive deal where he's kind of tied to Netflix for
Hmm.
the foreseeable future. I don't know exactly
Mhm.
how long, but Mark Millar says he and I are massive Superman fans. I mean, we worship Richard Donner. We love the Christopher Reeve movies. He actually phoned me up a few months ago and said, hey, listen, DC, they're very interested in me doing Man of Steel 2. Do you want to come in and do this? And I was like, I'm exclusive to Netflix for years.
Yeah.
We can't even have that conversation. And he was
Yeah.
like, oh, man, what's the chances of this? And then he kind of drifted away. And he's attached himself to a couple of things and all that. You know, so it's one of those things that I mean, if somebody phones Matthew up and offers him enough money, it could all change tomorrow.
Ooh,
Sure.
So
I think he also did tweet something out about like the only Superman things I've ever written
yeah.
are Superman Red Sun, and then he did like another comic book
Mm-hmm.
issue of like Superman Adventures, some animated thing or something like that. Like he's done those as a
Yeah.
comic book writer, kind of definitively saying like I'm not working on anything right now. This is it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything for DC. I am like working for Netflix, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mhm.
I love Mark Millar as a writer. I think he's hugely hit and miss with me,
Mm.
but he's somebody who has said he would like to write definitive stories for a lot of different characters.
Mhm,
He wrote
mhm,
what a lot of people would consider a definitive story for Wolverine. He
Mhm.
wrote Old Man Logan,
mhm.
and look at how it inspired Logan,
Yeah.
right? He wrote Superman Red Sun, which a lot of people are like, that's a
Mhm.
definitive. You can look at that. It's sort of a one and done, like a
Mhm,
graphic
mhm.
novel, hand it to somebody, and that's it. It's not like
You don't need
years
to
and
know
years.
the 70 years
Right.
of
It's not like
Superman.
he does. I don't think he's interested in doing like a run on a
Right,
character as
right.
like a comic book writer. Like he wants to do like a little
a
and
good
he's-
one-off.
Yeah, and he's been like, and he said like he also did a little short mini set for Fantastic Four, which I thought was
Wait, are those the ones that we read a long time ago?
No,
No?
those are Mark Wade. The
Oh,
ones
yeah,
that he
yeah, yeah.
did had a little bit of Old Man Logan
Right,
in it,
right, right.
and they had art by Brian Hitch, and they were
Yeah.
kind of realistic and newer and stuff. And so he's done that. What else has he done? He did another Wolverine story, Enemy of the State. He did which a lot of people really really like. He said like maybe I don't want to do something like that for Wonder Woman, something like that for Green
Yeah,
Lantern. Like he's
that'd be
kind of
awesome.
named other characters. So he thinks in that in Mark Millar thinks in that area of what is like the definitive sort of core aspects of this character.
Right.
Would be interesting to see him work on a Superman movie. I
Yeah.
mean, it wouldn't be Red Sun because that's
Right.
that's a completely different thing. But the fact that he can boil down some Superman elements to their sort of core
Yeah.
to even do Red Sun, and the fact that he says he worships Donner in the first Superman movie,
Those
like
are all good signs.
Yeah.
All great
but-
signs. Yeah.
all right,
Yeah, and he also talked about in the interview, somebody had asked him sort of, because I think like 10-ish years ago, him and Matthew Vaughn were sort of developing a Superman movie.
Mhm.
But he did talk about how he had pitches for a whole lot of other characters, for
Mhm.
Green Lantern, for Green Arrow, for a
Nice.
few other characters. So it is kind of a bummer that he is somebody who has so much comic book experience, and now he has film experience, and
Yeah.
now he's gonna have creative experience at Netflix.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit of a bummer to potentially not have the opportunity to have somebody like this work on things like Superman,
Yeah, sure.
especially when they're so passionate about the character. And he already obviously has a really good working relationship with Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah.
So I imagine that this won't happen, that they won't work
Probably
together
not.
on it. But who's to say that Mark Millar may not give him some maybe
Notes.
some notes,
some hints,
Yeah.
some little hints,
little suggestions,
a little sheet of paper that
little-
says like, I would do this.
little tap
Don't tell
tap-a-roo.
anybody.
Yeah, yeah,
Speak for
definitely.
yourself.
I think the right man or woman is out there that's ready and primed and good
Yeah.
to go to direct an awesome Superman movie. And
Yeah,
if it's not
absolutely.
Matthew Vaughn, fine, but like
Yeah.
I like the
Somebody's
guy,
gonna come
but
along.
I think they're out there. They just
Yeah.
got to go get them.
I mean, like Ryan Johnson came out of nowhere and wrote The Last Jedi.
You know?
Yeah.
Made that thing. So
Yeah, I mean,
from the
he-
director of Brick. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
He did Looper, and then it was like radio silence for a little while, and I was like, "What is Ryan Johnson doing now?"
Mhm.
And then he came and wowed us with this one. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's out there. I believe it's going to happen. Maybe these missteps with what's going on with the DCEU had to happen in order for them to like either focus on it or maybe change. I don't know, steer the ship in a different direction or something. Because what they're doing obviously isn't working. And if they're serious about keeping these characters and keeping these properties and really trying to make them super successful, they have to keep going at it. And that's what I'm looking forward to, like seeing somebody who's super passionate saying things like this, like, yeah, it's not in the best place right now, but we can steer it in the right direction. Let's get it going where they need to be. I like that. I really,
about it.
exactly. And not being down in the dumps,
right.
not saying, oh, well, it's over. DC Superman can never be back on the big screen and stuff like those. That's just, I don't like that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Is there anything else other than Superman? Because he's talking about how he's kind of attached to multiple things. Are there any other superheroes based on Matthew Vaughn's previous work that you think he would be a good fit for in the DC universe?
Well, sticking with that sort of Kingsman 60s old Bond vibe, superheroes, I don't know. I think along with a Brad Bird, he'd be great at Johnny Quest. But he might also be a little bit too adult for Johnny Quest.
Yeah,
Johnny Quest is like more of a kid-oriented thing.
Yeah.
I just really want to fucking see a Johnny Quest movie get done, man. Like, I really want
I could actually
that.
see Matthew Vaughn doing something like Green Arrow.
A Green Arrow,
Yeah. A little brutal, but
it's
like
a little bit,
social
it's a little
commentary.
Batman-y, but it also
Yes.
has that
Fun,
detective, like
weird.
sort of like spy sort of feel to it. I feel like
I could see that. I
play
could
that
see
off.
him do. I mean, the easy one because he just did Kingsman was like keep working with Sam Jackson and do like a solo Nick Fury movie.
Yeah.
You know, or Shield like spy stuff. But that's too easy. As far as DC goes, I think because of his comedy, he might be somebody that would be good for Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
I was
He,
thinking
like,
that.
he might be somebody who, with the right cast, he could really steer like a really great, fun, comedic, take on this world that's still like that's just like fast and cool and
I would maybe like to see him on a one-off Justice Society, like since he's got a kind of like those old school vibes.
That would be great.
I like an
That'd
old
actually
school
be cool.
Justice Society where
amazing.
you have like the old school Justice League, pre-Justice League. I think he could bring something cool to the table. I think what's really going to help the DC universe is doing those Elseworlds type of thing where like maybe we get a different version of Superman and maybe you find one that latches on and you do a 3-movie arc with that guy.
Sure.
Or maybe you do Red Sun or maybe you do something like that. That's just one off to get people excited. And then when you find something that sticks really well, you do 3-movie arc and you move on. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be this gigantic 20-year spanning Marvel universe type deal.
Right.
I don't know. A lot could change, and I'm hoping to change for the best.
I'm really curious to see kind of where we end up with this DC universe next year.
Yeah.
There's there's discussions or there's like things going on. I think Chris McKay was going
I'd
out.
love an Adam McKay directed superhero movie. Yeah.
That'd be dope. That'd
From
be
the
dope.
director of
That'd be
Anchorman, The
awesome.
Legend of Ron Burgundy, comes the Doom
Co-writer
Patrol.
of Ant-Man.
Wow.
But I do think that Chris McKay did say that around February we'll probably start hearing more stuff about the Nightwing movie.
Cool.
So I think around that time we'll probably start to get more stuff from Shazam. Will be shooting by then.
Okay.
And I think Aquaman will probably be getting like a trailer or something. Like we got to be getting something from these movies soon. So it'll be sort of interesting to see how DC kind of starts their year and what they start with. I think TV they've been doing extremely well. We got to look at Hawk and Dove. We got to first look at Robin and like that's looking real.
They're
Black
killing
Lightning.
it. They're
Black
killing it on
Lightning's
TV.
coming early next year. That's going to be a good way
Yeah.
to start off that brand, I guess, in the TV world. Yeah.
Flash and Arrow, like Supergirl, that's all continuing. Legends of Tomorrow. So I think TV they really got it covered. I think with comic books they really have it covered with that particular audience.
Yeah.
And I think movies is kind of going to be the thing that they really need to focus on. And we'll see if this change in leadership, how it sort of shifts the narrative and how they're able to shift the narrative, and to see if a guy like Matthew Vaughn maybe does come on board.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting, and I like the fact that they're still open to it. Basically.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of directors of the DCEU, Ben Affleck was interviewed asking, if he was
What
still
was he
interested.
interviewed for? What's he doing press for? Justice League still?
I think it might have been Justice League related. Yeah, I didn't read the entire article.
Okay.
I just read the bites where he was talking about Batman in
Okay.
particular. But they were asking him kind of, they were trying to figure out kind of what his next appearance would be and if it was going to be his last one. As of right now, the rumor is that he will show up in Flashpoint. He'll be Batman in the Flashpoint movie, but he won't be Batman in the Matt Reeves Batman trilogy or whatever that ends up being. We still don't have a confirmation. We still don't. Yeah, like we still don't know for sure. That's right now the talk that's happening. So we'll find out.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be super interesting if Ben Affleck plays Batman in Flashpoint, but not in Matt Reeves' Batman movie.
Well,
timeline wise, like how
that's-
that works.
That's the whole reset.
Yeah,
Like, that's where
that's
they're
the
gonna switch.
reset.
If anything,
Don't
this
do
tells
that.
us. If
Don't
anything,
do
Hector,
it.
this tells us they're gonna recast for Flashpoint.
You don't do that. That's confusing and weird, and
It's-
it's not that big a deal. And just recast the character if you feel like recasting the character. If an actor doesn't want to keep doing it,
I know.
recast the character and say this is the same character that was in
I know.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, cameoed in Suicide Squad,
Yes.
starred in Justice League, and was in Flashpoint. Now we have a new Batman film, different actor. Who gives a shit? If we want to keep making Batman movies and we want to treat this character like James Bond or Mark Ruffalo Hulk, do it.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Hector. But it looks like they're leaning towards the Flashpoint reboot.
It's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy to me too because Ben Affleck. To me, it feels like Ben Affleck's been Batman for such a short amount of time. Even though he was cast in like 2013,
Yeah.
it's already almost been like 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And he'll technically be the Batman who makes the most appearances in the suit.
Oh, interesting.
Because he'll have been in Batman vs.
Yeah.
Superman, a cameo in Suicide Squad, Justice League, and Flashpoint.
That's already 4.
Christian
versus
Bale
3.
only played it 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 1/4, I guess, if you count cameo as like it's a small appearance, but he's still playing Batman.
Yeah.
So that to me is fascinating because
And if we don't count Michael Keaton in Birdman,
sure,
True.
yeah,
which is the closest we got.
closest
It's
we got
it's
to like a
third
Dark
one.
Knight, Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so they asked him about maybe what his role was going to be moving forward, and if he would consider potentially directing a Batman movie in the future. And he says, for me, it's interesting, and I always evaluate this stuff on the merit of the material. I want to direct a Batman movie, and I never got a script that I was happy with. So they are starting over and writing another script. And right now, I think a lot of different possibilities. I think for the way the DC universe could go, and I will just follow my interest in pursuing that. And I know that I love working with this group of people, and it was a real joy for me to make this movie. So
That's really interesting. I don't like reading it. That stuff stresses me out. It stresses me out to read
You look
that.
really stressed out right
It
now.
stresses
in
me out
general, Hector.
to have Adam say
Yeah.
it because it stresses me out because it's not ideal. It stresses me out that I'm like reading into it, or that where people are reading into it and cynically going, "Oh, well, he's just saying that because it's public relations, it's PR, it's
It
part
is.
of what it is that you do when you're in the public eye and you get asked a question like this, and
Yeah.
contracts aren't done, and you have to go like, I'm either am or not, and I can't comment
Tell
on it.
you.
All
Yeah.
of that stuff is just awkward to me.
Yeah.
It also doesn't feel like this unabashed. I feel like it could be like a really nice way to say no.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
somebody asked him, "Are you directing?" And as far as we know, that's not the plan.
Right.
Remember when he went from directing to just starring in, and then they're bringing
Right.
in Matt Reeves.
Right.
So if he's saying he wants to direct, but he never liked a script,
Yeah.
and then he goes, and now they're writing a new script. It's like
Yeah.
those are two different things. Aren't they
Yeah.
writing a new script for the movie that you're just going to star in,
Right.
versus the one you're directing?
Right.
It seems like it could be a really nice way for him to go very like diplomatically
Right.
say like, hey, listen, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. That's kind of not in the cards right now, but I'm not going to outright say it. And I love working with these people, which always
Right.
also feels like, am I an asshole for thinking that might sound a little phony too? Like it was a
Well,
real joy to
yeah,
work with. I'm
okay.
like, oh, I feel terrible now.
Just listen to what he said at Comic-Con. Remember what he said at Comic-Con? He didn't answer the question when he was asked,
I
"Are you
know.
not going to play Batman anymore?" And he goes, listen, I'll come back as many times as they want to have me back."
Right.
That wasn't
Right.
an answer. And look
Yeah.
what happened. He's not Batman anymore. Like
Yeah.
he's basically done after Flashpoint.
But
He didn't answer the question. He's a public relations master. He knows exactly what to say to answer your question and not really answer your question.
Sure.
I'm not trying to shit on Ben Affleck.
No.
I'm just saying he's been in the Hollywood machine for so long. He knows what
Kevin
to
knows how to play the
say
game.
and what
Kevin
not to
Feige
say.
does the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a very difficult thing to do, and those two guys are really good at it.
Absolutely.
And
They're
I
good
feel
at it.
bad because I'm not like I want him to do whatever he wants.
yeah,
Whether
absolutely.
he, as a Batman fan, as a movie fan, if he wants to keep making these movies, awesome. Because
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
him in the role.
Yeah.
As a Batman fan, as a movie fan, if this actor Ben Affleck, if he doesn't want to do it, great, man. Go do whatever you want to do. Like, don't like it's okay. Don't feel like I feel bad if I'm getting grouped into the group of fandom that's like, Ben, come back and do it, because I'm like, let the guy do whatever he wants to do.
I mean, we all kind of are getting lumped into that, even though we can think about it a little bit more pragmatically. It's like,
maybe.
yeah, we can separate, like you, Hector. You can smell out when it's public relations talk.
But
Adam,
maybe
I'm sure,
I've just been in the machine of reading this stuff my whole life that
Yeah.
you know, maybe I'm looking at it cynically, and everything he said is like 100% true.
Right.
He loves working with everybody.
Right.
He would love to come back. He wasn't super stoked with the script.
Right.
His plan is like, I'm going to direct a Batman movie
Right,
and be in it.
exactly.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just been weird and not
because
ideal.
it's been run through the Hollywood machine.
Yeah,
Like,
and I
we
think-
we don't get to see the real Ben Affleck when he's saying
Right.
stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem too. Is I think we've seen so much back and forth. We get one answer, then we get another answer, then we get
Right.
a contradicting
Right.
answer, and another
Exactly.
contradicting answer. I feel like
Exactly.
at this point, it's sort of hard to say. Not whether or not he's being genuine. I'm sure that he did have a good time working
Absolutely.
with all his
Absolutely.
co-stars
I don't
and
doubt
his
that.
directors, Joss and Zach.
Right.
Mhm.
But I think now at this point, it's sort of like, well, I got to play it safe, and I can't really say that I am going to be
Exactly.
Batman or I'm not going to be Batman,
Exactly.
or I am going to direct or I'm not going to direct. I got to leave It's
Exactly.
kind of like Matthew Vaughn. I got to leave the window open for possibilities,
Mhm.
but not necessarily commit to anything.
Right. Exactly.
Because I think
Don't burn any
contractually,
bridges.
yeah, don't burn any bridges. But I think also contractually, it puts you in a hole because then
Mm-hmm.
the studio assumes like, well, then we can definitely get Ben Affleck if he's telling
Right,
people that he
right.
wants to direct a Batman
Right,
movie. He's
exactly.
gonna want to direct a Batman
Or
movie.
say
Let's
he's-
get him for real cheap.
him saying something and then being like, "No, we're not going to do that."
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you're
Then
absolutely
he'll
wrong.
seem like a jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why,
then,
you know-
then you'll have fans who are pissed off because he said he was going to do something and there's no plans for
Exactly.
it.
And I think if at Comic-Con, if he would have came out and said like, yeah, I can't wait to do the Batman movie with Matt Reeves.
Right.
And then 4 months later, it's announced Ben Affleck is not playing Batman in Matt Reeves'
Exactly.
Batman movie. Then it's like, well, what the fuck, Ben Affleck?
Exactly.
You told us that you were going to play this.
Exactly. That's why he gave the answer he did.
Right.
That's why when we
Yeah.
were all there, we're like, he didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
But the rest of the crowd was like, yeah, he's Batman.
And it's like, no.
You
He
know?
said
Oh, man.
he kind of just like walked a fine line.
He didn't say anything.
He played it real safe.
He just said Batman a few times, and he said he liked playing the character.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
it.
Which
you
is
know?
like, of course, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
of
be playing
course.
Batman,
I would
who's not
fucking-
gonna say like,
Yeah.
I hated it?
Be like,
Yeah.
no,
Nobody.
fuck,
Yeah.
Batman fucking sucks, dude.
I
And
ha-
it was a
I
drag
had to
playing
wear a
him.
mask and I
Yeah.
sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck,
Like-
it was hard, man.
So again,
Yeah.
it's another one of these situations where I'm super curious to see what happens next year, what sort of announcements we get.
Yeah.
I just really hope that going to the new year, that Warner Brothers focuses less on like announcing a bunch of movies and focuses more on like, next we're doing this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And once that
Yeah,
movie
I
comes
agree.
out, and after that we're doing this.
Yeah.
And just go one step at a time. It's not a it's not a race, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
making these movies and building this universe, it shouldn't be a sprint. You should
Yeah.
be taking your time to build to it. As a fan of DC Comics and as a fan of these characters, I don't need these movies tomorrow.
Right.
Mhm.
I can wait a few years. If I have to wait 7 years to get all these character movies
Yeah.
and then build up to some epic story, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not going anywhere.
we had fun with the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Like, it was a good build up.
I became a fan of a franchise that like I didn't really care for.
See,
Yeah.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. You might convert some people if
Yeah.
you're pounding out some really, really good movies. But then again, you also put a lot of pressure on yourself too.
Totally.
Like this Infinity War movie needs to be, without a doubt, the best thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
true.
a shit ton of pressure.
Yeah.
Which is what kind of leads me back to doing the Elseworlds type of thing, like the
Mhm.
one-off stories, 3 movie arcs for characters, and then you can switch actors, you can do whatever you
Right.
want, you can switch teams, as
Mhm.
long as you told like a Lord of the Rings style 3 movie epic type
Yeah.
thing. You
Mhm.
know, I think that would work really well to kind of to have them find their footing, and then maybe jump into a giant
Mhm.
epic like that.
Here's a question for you.
Uh-huh.
So something that like I know we all admire the Marvel movies for what they've done for the last 10 years,
Mhm.
but something that like I know we've talked about a little bit and I've talked to other people around the studio about is 15, 20 years from now,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
a random person goes to, is on Netflix or whatever on Disney's streaming app.
Mhm.
They see Captain America Civil War. They're intrigued by the cover.
Mhm.
It's got all these characters on it.
Yeah,
They watch that one movie.
yeah,
They don't know what's happening potentially.
potentially, sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe DC's approach should be something of what you're talking about, where it's like, let's do these Elseworld stories, but let's also do like a main continuity
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
one movie at a time and doesn't necessarily rely on the viewer to have to watch
Right.
the other
I think
10, 15
I think
Yeah.
Civil War is a really interesting example of that too, because I would point to the rest of their movies and go, generally speaking, their movies are sort of set up like that.
standalone.
Generally speaking,
Yeah.
at the beginning of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, they give you that little like he goes to the museum to see like the history of Captain America to kind of bring
Right.
you up to speed. He
Right.
was a skinny, scrawny Steve
Mhm,
Rogers and got the
mhm.
super like a little bit.
Mhm.
All their one-offs: Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. You don't need to, you
Yeah.
know. That's good. That's a really interesting question because we cannot see those movies and erase our memories of
Yeah,
everything before.
exactly.
So like,
Exactly.
you know,
Mhm.
I don't. It's impossible to kind of to make that comparison. I think Civil War still has a strong like story in it that surrounds Steve Rogers and him having to like make decisions, like surrounded by a bunch of action. I think the movie, like all their movies, absolutely 100% benefit from that extra research you've done. But I don't think that it's necessary. But that's tough for me to say because I'm so in it.
Right.
And I don't know if the opposite approach is also the answer too, because to me, it's such a balance between telling a singular story with great characters that people enjoy and setting it in a world where those characters can then meet and interact with other characters. That's the whole point of comic book storytelling. And it's not perfect in comic book storytelling. Continuity is messed up as well.
Yeah.
You know, people make mistakes. That's why they have editors.
Look at Marvel in the 90s. It was confusing as shit.
Exactly. And it's a constant ebb and flow of like in the comic book world, it's like, oh shit, people love this thing because it's been happening for 50 years. But people are intimidated by this thing because it's been happening for Ultimate Universe, and then there's a new Peter Parker, but even that gets to a point where it's like, oh, ebb and flow, this is too
crazy.
And
then it interacts with the normal 616
yeah, it's like, oh, let's
crazy.
just clean that, but we're keeping Miles Morales, and then, you know, so it can be done, but it's about finding the balance. I think that Warner Brothers has one of the greatest IPs in the ever created, which is the DC universe. Absolutely. It is so rich.
Absolutely.
But look at Justice League, Justice League Unlimited. That's the balance. Those characters, some of them had other shows previously, weren't necessary to jump into an episode of Justice League.
Absolutely.
Is it necessary to have seen every episode of Justice League because they're sort of each episode was like its own kind of, you know what I mean? Especially Unlimited was like,
they have little mini arcs.
This one is surrounding Booster Gold, and this one is surrounding Hawk and Dove, and this one is Green Arrow and Supergirl and Captain Atom are teaming up. What a weird little, and this one is The Question and Hawk Girl and Solomon Grundy's in it, and this weird, you know. Or they did one that was kind of the Defenders, which had Dr. Fate and Solomon Grundy and Hawk Girl and I want to say Amazo. Anyway, the point is that it's all about the balance. I do not believe that doing, whether it's Elseworlds or just their singular movies where every movie is like, we'll explain who Batman is to you at the beginning of every movie. It's like, fucking don't do that.
It's too much,
because everybody kind of knows. But if you can find a way to do it, again, Captain America going to that museum in sort of an organic way. Let's recap what's Bruce Wayne. Who is he up to this point? And go. And this story's about XYZ. I don't know if Warner Brothers should go, every movie is its own thing forever. We're going to get a different actor each movie. We're going to get a different director each movie. They will never connect. They will they'll never be. We'll do a Justice League. It'll be completely different actors. Yeah. Because then a part of that's like, well, fuck, man. Like you already
you want to connect with the actors.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You've already done work and created costumes for this other movie. Just put them in. Have the character show up. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I feel so to kind of go not against that, Hector, but like my little brother is not a big. I'm the geeky one in my family. My siblings don't really like movies. They don't really watch movies.
Weird.
And they're not really geeky. It's really weird. It's really weird. But my little brother was kind of getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Didn't watch the Captain America movies, but then jumped into Civil War, and he said he walked out because he was like, "This is boring," because he didn't have that connection. So I think the deeper we go into it, intrinsically, it's just going to happen where you kind of need to at least have watched some of it or have. Like go on Wikipedia and like get a summary of it because there's going to be a certain point where you're going to need to know some shit.
Counterpoint. Didn't he have a similar experience with The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
What happened there?
He did. And he ended up loving The Force Awakens.
Now, he didn't see 6 Star Wars movies
before
that.
No, he didn't see the 6 Star Wars before that.
That's an example of a successful like first-timer movie while still acknowledging what came before.
Right.
And if he goes back and watches those and sees Force Awakens again, it'll have a different he'll have a different experience, a different emotional attachment. But that's the example. Force Awakens for your brother succeded where Captain America Civil War
did not.
Yeah. So,
but I told him to give it another shot, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I gave it another shot, and I liked it." So.
Nice. It's a tough balance.
And so I had to tell him about it, though. Like I had to tell him to put the effort into it. Whereas
it is intimidating because that's my favorite franchise of all time. It's intimidating to tell loved ones like, "Hey, I want to share this thing that I love with you."
Right.
It's 18 movies.
I know you might not like it. It's like, not really
Hector,
your thing.
when you tell me that you want to marathon all the Marvel movies, I'm like, oh my god,
I know.
What?
I know. So, but it's how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You got to be like, let's watch Iron Man. Did you like Iron Man? Okay, let's try this.
Compare the Marvel Cinematic Universe to Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Eating
Just
an
wanna make
elephant.
sure. Got
That's
it.
right.
All
All
right,
right, let's
you
move
didn't-
along. I'm starting to sweat. in
You
this
didn't like
bitch.
Hulk? That's okay. Iron Man showed up at the end.
Yeah,
That's fine. Let's
exactly.
try Thor. Let's try Iron Man 2. You liked Iron Man, right? You didn't like that one as much? That's okay. Let's try Thor.
That didn't work for you that much.
That's
Let's
okay.
try
Let's
Captain
jump.
America, the
Let's
First
jump to
Avenger.
Ant-Man,
Yeah.
and then from there. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
You
All
didn't
right,
like Too
guys.
Fast, Too Furious? Here's Fast 5. Oh, I love it now.
That's
Oh, it's good
not
stuff.
that's not a bad place to start.
Yeah, I might just start at that one, you guys.
Oh,
Okay.
No,
All
you
right.
got to
Start
commit
at
to
that
the whole
one.
thing.
Do the whole thing.
Ah,
Come on.
damn it. Okay.
So we're gonna take some questions from you guys. You guys submitted these on YouTube and on Twitter. The first question comes from SugarCube3, who says, "Cap, beard or no beard? Explain while using 3 sources, MLA essay format, 8 pages minimum,
Oh,
12
God.
point Times New Roman
Oh
font."
God.
I'll
Hector?
skip to the end. In conclusion,
In conclusion,
as you can see by my concrete details, Captain America with a beard is
pizza chef.
because he is a man with no country.
Oh.
I love that Cap, the nomad. The Captain America who, after 3 movies,
Yeah.
in the beginning, everybody, the Greatest Generation, World War II, punching
Yeah.
Nazis, bam, ba-da-dum, bam, bam. Everybody is an American when they watch that film.
Yeah.
Because that was a generation, and it was political still, because every era of all time, everything ever is political. But when you see a movie about punching Nazis or Hydra, the world rallied and took down evil
Yeah.
in that time, and it has turned into stories like Indiana Jones, and you're not gonna be mad at that.
Yeah.
Then you get to Cap 2 and 3, and he's like, my superiors are wrong. I don't want to
Yeah.
answer to you. What
Yeah.
I'm not gonna answer to you. What
These
if
guys are assholes?
I love that?
Yeah.
That's my favorite Cap. I
Yep.
go beard.
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 But he had no beard at the time.
I know, but now he
But
does.
now it forced him to have a beard.
Now he has no beard and no star, and it's
That's
like
right.
T'Challa being, get this man
Yeah.
a shield. Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I actually I think something that I think the comic books do a lot that I don't think superhero movies have explored at all. It's letting the superhero characters be more than just the superhero character. Let them be human.
Right.
I loved when there's comic panels and you see Captain America with a beard
Yeah.
or Batman with it. Like it, I don't know. It just shows some form of sort of like wear and tear that they are sort of in a different mental state when they
Right,
are
right.
going through these sort of physical transformations.
Right.
And I think it adds more to their character. Whereas
Absolutely.
if they always look pretty boy and clean shaven all the time, you kind of just put them in a box and they're just this one particular thing.
Yeah.
Whereas with this Captain America, I'm like, man, I really can't wait to see what sort of mental state you've been in ever since you've sort of abandoned
Exactly.
the whole idea of being an Avenger for your own moral reasons.
I like
So
both.
beard.
I like both because when he's Captain America, he represents that American ideal of
Yeah.
like clean cut, do what is best for you, do what is best for your country, but
Yeah.
always stand up for something
And look good.
and look good
Yeah.
while
Take
you're
care of
and that
yourself.
part of it is like looking good and feeling good about yourself, and that's what he does. He's the true symbol of somebody you should look up to, you know. And when you see him with a beard, even though I've only seen him like in comic books and then in
Yeah.
that short piece in the trailer, you know that for a character like Captain America to grow a beard, that's a huge sign.
That's why it was so
It's-
awesome when Superman had long hair and a beard.
exactly.
Yeah.
When he came back,
Exactly.
came back from the dead, or recently when Superman had the black suit, but it was like Superman from the universe. But yeah, but just him having the beard.
Right. Growing the beard just it makes it symbolizes sort of a shift, and I don't know if you guys made the decision one day to let your beards grow. I know I did. And that was kind of a big thing for me because I had never ever I didn't even know if I could grow a beard. Like I had to go through this period where people were telling me to just shave it. And I was like, no, dude, I'm just going to let it go. Like, let me do my thing. Like, let me go through this weird, awkward, shitty beard period so that I can get to something that I want to get to. And I think that's something that kind of symbolizes what Captain America is going for, you know, like he's sort of breaking the mold of what he was before by growing this beard that not a lot of maybe military types would accept anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah, absolutely.
In one's life. And
He's-
to some people who are younger audience members or female, like, well, I think women would get it because I think they also go through their own
Yeah, of
physical
course.
changes.
Of course they do.
But yeah, it's definitely it's kind of like going through puberty, but it's
Yeah.
a different type of thing. It is really stepping into manhood and being like, I can make these decisions on my own, and I'm going through something in my life,
yeah, exactly.
and it's sort of affecting me on a physical
right. You
level.
physically are showing it. you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's a
yeah.
good symbol. But saying that aesthetically talking, beard all the way. Like he just looks so badass with a beard.
He does. He does.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wish I could grow mine that thick, but it's not.
And we
mine's
just gave
not
you an
there.
8-page analytical response
I
to
know,
that
well,
question.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Bet you didn't expect
you're
that.
welcome. Next question comes from Milosh Bekic, who says, it's too early for this kind of question or suggestion, but It would be nice to make another Road to Infinity War event. Some of you guys from Hyper RPG will watch live on Twitch and later review all MCU films. I think we'll increase subscribers and views for YouTube channels. For your YouTube channel, since I still watch some of your old reviews and reactions on your old channel, and also do Road to Episode 9 in 2019. Okay, I overextended.
I'm gonna give the Ben Affleck answer and be like, yeah, I had a lot of fun. If Hector and Adam will have me back, then I'll do a 17 movie marathon. Sure, yeah. Copyright Ben Affleck.
We are planning on doing something for Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we've never done before, and something that is actually going to be, I feel like, fairly challenging in the best way possible, because it's going to really require us to take this 10 years of Marvel history and sort of figure out how we can sort of encapsulate and condense it in a way that's in a chewable fashion.
Right.
Whether or not we end up doing some sort of a marathon, I think that's a whole other conversation. I wouldn't rule it out.
So guys,
the Ben Affleck answer.
I don't know if you realize, but that was even though it was just watching movies, that was a lot of work. A lot of work for us to like try to keep it together, and there was moments in that marathon where it just went off the rails.
We just got
like
loopy.
You couldn't even hear the movie at times. Yeah. I read the comments, and there was people like, you guys need to actually shut up at this point because we can't hear what's going, or like there's too much going on. So it's a lot of work. I would love to do it, but honestly, I don't think I have the guts or the ass fortitude to sit there for like 2 days straight to watch this stuff again.
Crazy. It's tough. And at this point, if we were to do it, it would probably almost require 3 days, because now we've had 6 more, like 4 or 5, 6 more movies come out.
And I'm a couple years older, so
yeah. So we'll see. We may end up doing something. If we do a marathon of any kind, it probably wouldn't be something we try to squeeze into 3 days, because I think that's just kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But I think we're sort of at the point that if we were to start with Iron Man in January, we may be able to actually, I think it would be about 16, 17 weeks to get to Infinity War.
Okay.
So it's possible that maybe if we did one a week, possible, but that's something we'll have to figure out in the new year.
Yeah,
but
that's
we'll definitely
still
keep
a
you guys
lot of work
posted on
too.
that.
So
and if we did it, it may not be in a visual format. It may just be in an audio format. I don't know. We'll have to discuss it.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
We'll get creative with it.
Yeah, we'll get creative with it.
And throw ideas at us if you have ideas too.
Yeah, if you have ideas, absolutely throw them in the comments, on the community board, wherever. Just let us know, or on Twitter. Lo Rosario asked, besides money, how else can we support Hyper Heroes and Hyper RPG?
Oh, you know the answer, baby. Come over here and hang out with us. Just kidding.
No, I would say the biggest thing, that you can do to help support everything that we do here is to actually just talk about it. Tell your friends, tell people that you know that love comic book movies, Star Wars movies, anything that's like of our interest. We all love we love things like animation. We love more things than just superhero movies. We love sci-fi, fantasy. Like, just if you have friends who are just fans of film and comics and want to generally kind of get more information, then I think, maybe suggest either our podcast or the YouTube channel, or even select videos that we've done and see if it's sort of in their wheelhouse of interest, and then, maybe we'll grow fans that way.
Also, the reason these lights are on is because of Twitch.
Yeah.
So go and support the Twitch. There's a lot of cool programming on Twitch. I'm addicted to their Hyperforce Power Ranger show.
Yeah, you are.
That's a great show. I love Pencils and Parsecs.
Thanks, man.
Hector. That's my second favorite show after Power Rangers.
I'll take it.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So go on Twitch, check out some of their programming. They're switching stuff up all the time. They have something for everybody. Like, I love working here because of you guys, but also because of everybody else we get to meet.
Yeah. Everybody's
One of the
awesome.
actors who's just finished, he's Lucio from Overwatch. We have Torbjorn from Overwatch. We have Genji from Overwatch that comes by sometimes.
Yeah.
Reinhardt from Overwatch did some stuff here before. We have a lot of talented people that work here, and supporting them and supporting through the Twitch is actually probably the best way for us to keep the lights on here.
Yeah, and I would also say, definitely look at Hyper RPG on other platforms. Look at us on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yep.
Hyper Heroes has an Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow the cast and crew, because we're going into the new year. We're gonna be
warm in these rhinos.
Going into the new year, we're gonna be starting a lot new content. A lot of the stuff on Twitch is going to be shifting around. We're going to be moving shows to different platforms.
Yeah.
It's a lot of experimentation, and the only way we'll really know if the things that we're experimenting, whether or not they're successful, is if you guys go out there, you seek it out, you share it. On Facebook, if we post a video like we did a few weeks ago, Justice League deleted scenes, if that's something that you like and you want people to see it, share it.
Yeah.
Sharing is the most important.
That's it.
Be super interactive in the comments on Twitter, on Instagram with all of our posts. I think the more interactive people get, the more I think encouraged we are to make more content. And I think that's the way we're really going to start to bring in more people. And hopefully we can grow this thing and break 100,000 subscribers in the new year.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really great.
Huge.
I think we can do it.
Tory Flack asks, all right, 2017 versus 2016. Which year was better for you guys?
Better in what way?
Yeah, there's different things. I feel like for us, probably 2017 was better professionally for us. I mean, we all have lives and so this isn't going to get sad or whatever, but it's so weird because I was thinking about that. I was like, 2017 was a great year for me personally. I got to do a bunch of rad shit, but it was also like a bad year for the earth, I think.
Yeah.
Like it's just like so depressing.
Hurricanes, California's on fire.
God, just everything.
It
just
was
everything.
rough.
Great year for films, but also it's just been like such a bummer to like know that so many people in Hollywood are huge pieces of shit and be like, okay.
But also in 2016, a lot of people died. Like celebrities, a lot of people that we love died, and so it's been kind of rough the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could call it.
I don't know. What was better for you, Tori?
Yeah,
what was a better
Tori.
year for you? 2016 or 2017?
Whatever you say, that's the right answer.
I also think it's weird. It would be weird to be like, oh, 2017 sucked for us. 2016 definitely a better year. It's like move forward. No. What like we got each other.
Yeah.
We love each other.
This is still going.
We're getting to do what we want to do. We got you guys, and it's just all it's moving forward. We're not gonna be like, well, in 2016 we had more subscribers.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck all that stuff. Like who cares?
Good answer, Hector.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I think for me, and like there are things of 2016 that I love. There are things about 2017 that I love. There are things that I loved both years equally.
Yeah.
Like both years going to Comic-Con. We did more coverage this year.
Yeah.
But I had fun both years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like we got a chance to interact with more fans maybe last year because we were doing more stuff.
Yeah.
But when we did get to interact with fans this year, it was still awesome to interact with fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
At TwitchCon, at Comic-Con. I hope that going into the next year, we'll be able to do more conventions. We'll be able to do more coverage and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I don't really feel like I've had a bad year.
Right.
I feel like I maybe was more active last year, doing a lot more stuff, doing schmoes and schmodown.
Yeah.
But it also like I was at a different point in my life. Like I wasn't working in the first half of the year. So I could go do those things. I had a lot of free time. So I was working on building up superhero news and like going and doing all these guest spots, and we were doing Geek and Sundry at the time. And this year, it's a little more scaled back because now I'm at Screen Junkies full time, and this, and like we were doing another show, we were doing Cineverse before, like that took up a lot of time.
That took up
so
a
I didn't
shit
get
ton of time.
like I didn't get to go do a lot of things like schmoes and all that kind of stuff, but I did get to be on Screen Junkies more, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I hope next year, that's really my big goal for next year is I want to be able to go out and do more podcasts. I want to be able to go back to the Schmodown and maybe do Schmoes Know again. And sort of start bringing a lot of the talented people who are here at Hyper and start to put them on more things too. Like I would love to get people on Movie Fights now that it's back. I would love to get more people on Schmoes and in the Schmodown. So I think 2018 is going to be generally a really big year for everyone here to grow. And I really just want to go out there and just be out there more and try to build more opportunities for us so we can, in return, give you guys more. Because I think that's kind of the end goal is like we always want to bring you stuff that's really valuable to you and bring you things that are informative. So even though we're bringing things that are opinion-based, we still want to make sure that we're putting some facts into it. So when you walk away watching any video that we do, you feel just a little bit more informed on the things that we're passionate about.
Yeah, I feel really proud of that Star Wars review we did because I called it more of a movie exploration rather than like a movie review.
Yeah.
But just to echo what you said, Adam, the future, that's what excites me.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Don't ever think you're gonna peak. Don't ever think you've peaked.
Right.
Don't think that last year was better. Those
you got to keep going.
Like that was it. That was the best year of my life.
Right. Especially because we live in a world where everything evolves so fast, and if you don't keep up with things, you will incredibly fast become a dinosaur.
Absolutely.
So you got to really just keep up with it and keep working hard.
Yep.
Thanks for the question, Tori.
Thank
Good question.
Blake Benji1 asked, do y'all have a podcast still? I miss listening to you guys. My question is, with Thanos supposedly making a big impact within the first 5 minutes of the movie, who does he kill off that quick?
Man, slow down.
Everybody.
Slow down. Why you want to? It's going to happen in May. Why you want to speculate about what? Look, what did we learn about The Last Jedi? People that spent 2 years formulating theories did not have a good time.
Yep.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yep.
Don't do it to yourself. You're just going to disappoint yourself.
Yeah. Don't worry about who dies in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. to keep yourself distracted, go back and from the beginning watch Iron Man 1 through every episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., every Netflix show, The Runaways, Agent Carter, every single
You
thing.
will not have time to breathe.
You will not have time to be like, who does he kill in the first 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Don't worry about that shit.
They got that
Mama,
shit.
Get that shit on lockdown.
And Adam, do we have a podcast?
Yeah, so
You're
you can
listening
actually
to
find,
it right now.
You can actually find the podcast on Google Play, on SoundCloud, on iTunes. We're working on trying to get on Spotify. It's all linked down in the description. If you are listening right now, thank you so much for listening. We've got a lot of people listening to the podcast now, so I'm super, super excited, and I can't wait to bring other content. Right now, we're just mostly doing this show and our reviews because that makes the most sense. Trailer reactions don't really make sense to be put on a podcast because the whole point of a reaction is you watch it with us.
Oh, they don't know that I'm dressed as Santa.
That's right.
Oh.
They don't.
They don't. I'm dressed
And
as
I
Santa
am
this
dressed
episode.
as Frosty the Snowman.
And Adam's just in his chonies. Again.
Well,
Classic
I live
Adam.
here, so I
Classic
guess
Adam.
I'm allowed to do
Yeah,
that, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
this
dude.
is your house.
At least
so.
I smell good, don't I?
Yeah, it's
Hopefully.
good.
Really good.
It's a good
Alright.
musk.
Perfect.
Really
Stings
good.
the nostrils.
Ooh, damn.
It's like gasoline.
Mhm.
Guys, if you should probably come over and watch this video because there's a lot of flirting happening on this episode tonight. Zarina Zarm, our good friend Zarina Zarm asks, what movie, big or independent, or TV show has surprised you the most, but you hadn't expected them to before?
I don't understand the second part of the question.
So what's a show or a movie that you saw, independent or big, that was good and you maybe weren't expecting it to be as good as it was?
Oh, gotcha.
The movie It.
It doesn't have to
for
be a
me.
superhero movie, obviously.
The movie
It?
It for me really, because I'm a horror movie guy.
Yeah.
I love horror movies, and I watch them to see if something can scare me.
Mm-hmm.
It had moments where it fucking legitimately scared me. I hadn't been scared since I watched The Ring back, like when The Ring first came out.
2003.
Yes, I
Damn,
remember
dude.
watching that in theaters, being terrified.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't scare me the same as 2003 Augustine got scared.
Mm-hmm.
Because doing this show and like we talk about movies and story all the time. You can
We know
kinda
they're make
predict-
believe.
Yeah, well, not even that. It's just like you can tell what beats are going to happen at what
Yeah.
time. Specifically with jump scare horror movies, whenever it
Yeah.
gets really quiet, you know a jump scare is coming. And so I'm like, this is not scary. It had some moments that were just
Yeah, really
truly
surprising.
terrifying. Truly, truly terrifying. So for me, that was my surprise. Like, oh my God, this movie scared me and it's really, really good. So
Yeah.
that's all I got to say about that.
I'm not even finished with it yet, but I am going to finish it on the break, so no
Uh-huh.
spoilers. But Punisher on Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
We continue to talk about it, but like I was so surprised at how serious and good it was.
Yeah.
That's a show that it's like you do not have to watch any single thing ever of any Marvel cinematic.
there you go.
Right, it's very
And
self-contained.
in the first episode, they tell you Frank Castle was this guy who killed some
Yeah.
people, but now he's like got a beard.
Yeah,
and he's
now
super
see,
sexy.
there you go.
And he's slinging a sledgehammer at a construction site.
Uh-huh,
Here's the
uh-huh.
show, and it's about PTSD,
Yeah.
and it's about soldiers coming back from
Yeah.
war, and it's really
It's
fucking
amazing.
good. And it's
Okay.
not that I didn't love the other Netflix shows, but especially coming from Defenders,
Yeah.
which was like, okay, it's fine, but it's
It's like
you know,
goofy superhero
fucking
goodness.
silly
Yeah,
and dumb,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
know whatever. Then it's like the Punisher is like, damn. Even from Daredevil season 2, which I really really liked,
Yeah.
it's a different show. I'll say Punisher.
For me, man, it is a really good one because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a movie that I had a feeling it was going to be good from the trailers, but it's kind of blew me away how great it was.
Absolutely.
I
Such a good
think
movie.
for me, God, this is so hard,
Yeah.
so hard.
There's a lot of good movies. That
I
came out this
think
year.
I'm gonna have to go with Blade Runner 2049
Excellent choice.
because I really loved Denis Villeneuve, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, Sicario is one of my favorite movies.
Mhm.
So I knew going into it that I was going to be in for a real treat, and I knew it was going to be a good movie.
Mhm.
I didn't realize how deep that movie would be, and I didn't realize how motivated and driven by the characters and the relationships it would be.
Yes.
Mhm.
And even though people have problems with the length of the movie, yes, it is long, but man, you are
love
like
it.
you
I
are
love it.
in it.
Mhm.
You are
Mhm.
in it, and he made a movie that I think very easily could have been real bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I love the fact that
Absolutely.
he was the guy who said, like, I made it because I didn't want somebody else to fuck it
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Literally,
Yep.
like,
Mhm.
I'm saying that for historical
That's
like
exactly what he
accuracy.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally what he said. And it made me appreciate Blade Runner in terms of the universe a lot more because it
Mhm.
enriched it so much more.
Same.
And I know that probably will never make another one for the foreseeable future,
That's
probably
fine.
because of how it did in the box office and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% okay with that because to me these are two movies that, though they are different, the similarities that they share are so strong, and the universe building is so like
Yep.
rich.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it tells such deep human stories
Mhm.
and like very philosophical things So yeah, I think I would have to probably go with Blade Runner 2049.
That's a good answer.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
One
more thing.
yes.
Zarina's Arm just started her own YouTube channel. She has 2
Yes.
videos up.
Oh,
Awesome.
two now, huh?
She has 2
Awesome.
videos. She has
Nice.
the Last Jedi review, and then she has
Oh,
the Infinity
cool.
War
I'm gonna
reaction.
go subscribe right now.
So go follow her. It's pure passion. Like
Yeah.
just, there's moments where she can't even like formulate what she wants to say because you know that like there's so much emotion built up.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's great. Go watch
That's
her on
awesome.
YouTube.
Yeah, definitely do that. Definitely do that. Okay, so next question comes from Reanimate Existence 3. How do you feel about the low audience scores from The Last Jedi that The Last Jedi has on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm not surprised. How many people go see a movie and then go to do an audience score? Like, how do you input that score? How does that? How do they?
Rotten Tomatoes, you can just like make an account and just add it in.
So
You
you can make an
literally-
account and do the audience and just add it in. I'm not surprised in the slightest when this movie. First of all, out of every movie franchise, Star Wars lives and breathes on the internet. You're not going to be seeing this kind of passion over Blade Runner 2049
Right.
on the internet,
Right.
over Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water
Absolutely.
on the internet,
Mhm.
over Lady Bird on
Yeah,
the internet.
yeah.
But it's Star Wars, which lives and breathes and has kind of been reborn on the internet. This is a film that, because of how shitty some people are, Wikipedia was edited in racist ways for
Yeah.
Kelly Marie Tran's character.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me at all because Star Wars is the biggest thing in the world. It has a massive fan base.
Mhm.
It has a shitty fan base, an
Mhm.
awesome fan base. Awesome people
And
love it.
everything in between
Shitty
fan
and
base?
everything
Yeah.
in between
Yeah.
fan base. But it also has its fan base are very internet savvy. The ones that are vocal. It does not surprise me at all that people go see this movie and they'll probably be like, "That's pretty good. That's good. I liked
Yeah.
it." And then that's it. The people who hate it are the ones that are coming home and going, "Audience score
Racist, racist,
0%, 0%."
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me. It's
Uh,
yeah.
If 2017 taught me anything, if Cameron Rice taught me anything, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Like it doesn't matter to me anymore.
Sure.
I don't care what your Rotten Tomatoes score is. I don't
Oh,
give
yeah.
a shit. I'm gonna go and watch a movie that I want to watch regardless of those scores.
Mhm.
If I'm a Star Wars fan, I'm going to go watch every single Star Wars movie that comes out at this point, good or not. Like I'm gonna go watch it. If it's another prequel trilogy, then fuck it, I'm gonna watch those and I'm gonna say, hey, these weren't good. If it's a Last Jedi, which I think broke the mold that Star Wars made on its own,
Mhm.
I'm gonna watch it and recognize it for the amazing movie that it was. So it's just go and make up your own mind. Don't fuck with Rotten Tomatoes. Don't fuck with even Metacritic is a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, but it's like
I still
asking.
wouldn't.
It's like asking the question. Ooh, what do you think about? Is there any validity to the fact that like a fan started a petition and it's got X 13,000 number of
gross.
votes to like remove it from
That's
canon?
so
What do you
gross
think
to me,
about
dude.
that? Do you feel like that's true? Do you think that that's real and accurate? Do you think that people should listen to
Your
that guy?
eyeballs right now,
It's like,
Hector, are
fuck
creeping
no.
me out. Yeah,
That guy's obviously
yeah.
a fucking asshole.
yeah.
You know, and then he even like tried to take it back, like I was in a low place, guys. That always happens. Every one of these internet assholes that does
That's not
something
me.
racist
I
or
swear.
stupid, they go,
I swear.
I was in a low place. I have medical problems and
Yeah.
my body hurts, and I was
Yeah.
in a real low place. It's like you were still an asshole. Who
Like
did
like
that
when
dumb
people
thing.
get caught on camera doing dumb shit, like dumb racist
Yeah.
drunk stuff. They're
Yeah.
like, that's not me.
Uh,
that
it's
wasn't
not
me.
me.
I swear I
I
would
was
never
hacked.
do that.
I was hacked.
Shut up, dude. You were
Or like,
you were hacked in
Back
real
in
life.
the day,
Get
the
outta
guy
here.
that started the petition to be like, I am petitioning to like shut down the website Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah.
because it's biased towards DC
Yeah.
movies, and people had to be like, homie, it's owned by Time Warner. Like the
Yeah.
guy that didn't do the research
Shut
to
your
know,
mouth.
like
Shut your
it's
mouth.
just like we don't listen. We
Hush
don't
it.
listen to those people. We don't
Hush it.
pay those people lip service. man.
no, not at all.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I learned too is,
Yeah.
you know, I glance at the score just out of curiosity, but I don't ever let it dictate my decision whether or not I want to go see the movie. Because, for example, Jumanji trailers look fairly decent.
Mhm.
I was entertained by the idea of maybe seeing it. I thought, it's probably not going to be that good. Has an 80% score, or like a 70-something score. I'm like, that's actually not that. That's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to get. So sometimes, like, you never know. And I think that's the thing. And I know a lot of people, their excuses like, well, I want to make sure that my money's going toward a movie that's really quality. I'm like, you're not going to know if it's quality or not unless you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Your opinion is going to differ from the 150 critics that
Exactly.
reviewed it.
If,
you
if
no
you
matter
might watch
what.
a different movie than somebody else does.
Duh, that's bullshit. If those people really cared about, I'm trying to save money because I get it. People in this world are poor. I'm poor. I have
Hector,
like,
you're the poorest person
I
I
am
know.
pretty poor. I'm pretty poor.
You're, you're
but
barely hanging on.
those people, I'm like, if that were true, you would be tweeting. Because it's like free to use Twitter.
Yeah.
You would be tweeting every single day about the movies you're catching up on Netflix, which gives you a
Exactly.
bunch of movies.
Exactly.
Every day you'd be like, you guys, I missed this movie from like 4 years ago and it's streaming and I'm finally seeing it and it's but nobody's doing that. Nobody does that because they like to point to, I'm trying to save money. yeah, but this is fucking Star Wars. You're either in or you're out.
Yeah, you're in or you're out.
Don't look at that thing and be like, well.
Also, I'd like to point out that Movie Pass is only $9.99 a month.
Thank
Which
you.
I don't know about where you guys live, but at least for us here in Los Angeles, that is so dirt cheap.
Such a good
Normally
deal.
tickets when we go see when we went to go see Star Wars, it was about $20,
$20
or
each, yeah.
$17 or something. It's
Get
real
Hulu,
expensive.
get Amazon Prime. There are services now that
Yeah.
illegally download your movies. Like, don't give me that shit of like,
Hector-
I'm trying to. Don't do that.
Hector didn't just say that. That is Hector's
It's
own
just-
opinion.
Oh my goodness.
Thoughts and feelings. Of Hector
Thoughts and
Navarro.
prayers.
But it's
are-
just if
Yeah, I know.
it gets to that point, because I have been there. I have in the past. I have illegally downloaded comic books to read them, and if I love them, I know
buy
I
them.
remembered. I was
Yeah.
like, when I have money, I'll buy them, and I bought them
Yeah.
when I had money.
Yeah.
I would love Marvel to come at me with something like that because I'd be like, I spent so much money on Marvel comics and DC Comics and all these other comic books, and I have now like. It's
Too many.
just
Yeah.
like if you
Way
love the
too many.
art, you'll find a way to get
Totally.
it
to
to
support
get
it.
at it.
To support
Yeah.
it too.
Sneak
Because
into a movie theater.
if
I don't
there's
know what to
something
tell you.
if there's
like,
something you love,
Look,
you will support it.
I'm not gonna lie. Last year when all the Oscar movies went out, I went on a Sunday. I went over to the Pacific
That's right.
Theaters
I
in
remember
Glendale.
that.
I went there
double
like
feature, triple feature.
a quadruple. feature.
Quadruple. He was there all
Did you pay
day.
for all four of them?
No, I paid for one, and then I just went from one movie to the next. I went to go see The Martian, The Revenant. What's the movie with Christian Bale and Brad Pitt that Adam McKay directed?
The Big Short?
No.
Big Short,
Mhm.
and Kung Fu Panda. So,
Oh, that's right. I remember that's when you were on a Kung Fu Panda kick
Yeah,
that Hector
yeah,
It
ignited.
was awesome.
and it was
Yeah.
well worth it. So it's like, yes, I agree. There are ways. If
Mhm.
you
Go to the library. The library has
Exactly.
It's free, and they have movies in there.
Yeah.
DVDs.
exactly, you got
Yeah.
birthdays, you got Christmas, you got holidays. Ask for
Mhm.
stuff. Ask
Yeah.
for movie tickets.
Mhm.
Ask for passes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that's the biggest disservice you will do to yourself is to not go
Yeah.
support something because someone else told you not to.
Especially if you're a fan of it. If
Exactly.
you're a huge fan of Star Wars and you don't see this movie because of your Rotten Tomato score,
But-
are you that big of a fan?
But what did I tell you? I said today that Keller went and saw Jumanji. He was
Yeah.
I was like, Keller said it's actually pretty good, and I'm like, listen to your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
If your
listen to
friends-
Keller's review.
yeah. Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure I would love
He said it
any
was pretty
movie
good.
that Keller loves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Jumanji, it's a jungle inside your soul.
is that a song?
Somewhere deep inside at the end of the world. Jumanji, where survival your only goal. Plunge the jewel inside, say the name of the game.
Are you already listening to the soundtrack?
Jumanji. 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 Jumanji.
That sounds very Jack Black.
Say the name of the game. It is. It's a Jack
Yeah,
Black.
yeah. That's
He did on
you're-
Conan.
you-
It's
Oh,
great.
okay, okay.
It's great.
No wonder.
I'm
I
obsessed
was
with it.
like,
I
this
keep
song-
watching it over and over and over again. It's so good.
I was like, this isn't off the top
It's
of
Jack
Hector's head
Black.
right now.
No,
yeah.
no, it's Jack.
Yeah.
But I've already committed it to memory from
I need
watching
to
it.
watch that.
Speaking of paying
Interview.
for things that you love, make sure you donate all your money to this video.
Yeah.
So Hector can do
So
that
Hector
every
can
single
keep
week.
singing.
Do it again.
So we can have a musical segment called
Exactly.
Hector Sings a Song That He Likes.
Oh,
Just
God.
Jack Black songs.
Yeah.
Just Jack Black versions of songs.
Yeah.
All right. The next question comes from Jose Fonseca 3, who asks, as Hispanic men, what comic book do you feel represents the
Yeah, Adam, as a Hispanic man.
honorary?
feel?
Honorary.
How do you feel?
Mine is old school. Love and Rockets.
Oh, Love and Rockets is tough. I've read one volume of it and I didn't love it, but it is very Latinx. It's very Latino, Latina.
Yeah.
It's very like representative. That's a tough one. As a Hispanic man.
I don't think there has been a lot of. I mean, I haven't seen a chancla in a comic. You know, like chanclas are a big part of me getting my ass
But
whipped growing up.
you
know?
love that new Marvel character,
right?
That is based off of a
Right,
classic-
the Red Locust,
The Red
Chapulín
Locust.
Colorado. So
Exactly.
there's that. If there's anything, I guess Latino male would be Robbie Reyes because he's from
yeah.
East LA. He rides a lowrider.
There's actually, yeah, I like that.
There's a lot of LA culture type thing. So I guess Robbie Reyes would be the closest thing that we have so far.
Mhm.
But there's just not a lot of Mexican, specifically Mexican representation.
I've seen a little bit of it in some early Blue Beetle comic books
Yeah, there was a little bit of it.
with the Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes.
Yeah.
Is that right? Jaime Reyes? And yeah, Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes. I've seen a little bit of that, little flavors here and there. But
Yeah.
that's their experience, and it's what's it like to be a
Right.
half white, half Mexican kid who lives in, I mean, maybe he's full Mexican, who lives
think
in
he's Mexican.
in Texas, Blue
Yeah.
Beetle.
I
What's it
know-
like to be half Mexican, half white kid who gets superpowers who lives in Arizona?
Yeah.
Check out Nova
Yeah.
with the Sam Alexander character. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of those sprinklings in there. So
He's
nothing like
he's
Coco,
in Young
nothing-
Justice, right? Like
Blue Beetle?
the Mexican one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
because
he's
I know
not-
I know
he's been in
that
some
I
animated
know
stuff.
in that animated show he throws in a few essays. He was
Oh,
like,
right.
"What essay?" And I'm like,
Essay.
"It's not natural. Don't do that."
Yeah,
It doesn't sound good when he says it.
As
I'm just
opposed to
I
like
know.
you watch Coco,
Yeah.
and when Hector says, "Hey, come on, chamaco, let's go,"
Yeah, he calls
it's
him a
so
chamaco.
natural.
It's
I'm
so-
like,
yeah,
that's
it's so nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't force the essays.
Yeah,
It's
don't
gotta,
force the
you know,
essay. That's a little
You gotta.
Don't force the essays.
I don't know.
But
What about Adam?
What about
Any-
Adam?
any
Hector
check?
as a Latino male,
Yeah. As a Latino male, are there any Czech?
honorary. Yeah.
The day that I see a Czech character in a comic book
Yeah.
is the day that I buy the company
You
that
will-
prints that comic
Yeah,
book.
yeah. You will
Uh-huh.
cry. Tears
I will
of
cry.
joy.
Tears.
Because it's never happened.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any Czech representation anywhere, huh?
No, I mean they're just more white people.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that's the thing. Like it's so varied in Europe that like
Right.
there's so many different cultures.
Well, and that's the thing is like, yes, naturally, Czech people are of the lighter tone, but we are not Russian. We are not Eastern European.
the population.
We're not
small, huh?
Chechnyan.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
not, Slovakian. We used to be one country.
I
Yeah.
found one. Pedak, the Springman of Prague.
Prague.
Of Prague.
Wow, Prague. Hector. My
Well, because I
God.
read the other P word. Predak, the Springman of Prague.
You just bought
Prague.
yourself a ticket to
I
Prague
did.
so
To
you can
Shitsville.
so you can learn your ass some fucking Czech history.
Pedak, the Springman, was an urban legend originating from the Czechoslovakian city of Prague during the German occupation of Czechoslovakia in the midst of World War II.
Interesting.
In the decades following the war, Pedak has also been portrayed as a Czech superhero.
Wow.
Wow.
I
What
did
is
not
he?
know that.
What property is he under?
Something.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Pedak in
independently
fiction.
Czech run.
There was like a Czech animated cartoon in 1946. Oh, we gotta find this.
Oh, we gotta find
Oh.
this.
It's
thing.
amazing.
Yeah.
1961.
The Springman of Prague.
The Springman. In 1961, Perak was featured as a heroic character in the story Perovui Mus, the Springman, which was written by Czech science fiction writer John Weiss and
All right,
published
Adam.
as part of a collection of short stories entitled Bianca Praselli, a two-headed lady. This is amazing.
Adam, that's your homework when you go on your trip.
I wish I would have known this
You need to
when I was
find
there in
some
the
shit.
summer.
There's
you'll
a-
probably be able to
There's
find
a
something.
2016 animated film
Oh wow, no shit.
called Perak Stinnad Prahu, English name The Shadow Over Prague. I'm trying to read it like a Mexican. I don't know. Wow. Dude,
Yeah,
this
That's
is
your
great.
homework.
I'm
That's your
super. I'm
homework,
super
Adam.
intrigued because I think that's the big thing is coming from Czech Republic, it being such a small country.
Yeah.
Most people couldn't point it out on the map.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like they have no fucking clue where the country
Yeah.
is. I think now because a lot more people travel, they're a bit more aware of like where the country is. It still
And
drives
Prague
me.
is a very famous city.
Yeah,
and it's in a
amongst
bunch of
amongst
movies.
travelers, Prague is
Yeah.
spoken so highly of.
Totally. Yeah.
Like it's such a good destination for people
I
to go
get
to.
extremely irritated when
Yeah.
people ask me what it feels like to come from a third world country because it's not
Ooh,
at all.
baby.
It's one
They
of the most
don't- they
prosperous
don't-
countries in Europe.
They don't know about them beer jacuzzis they got over there.
Fuck
They don't know
me.
about that shit.
They got beer jacuzzis?
You know how many straws I went through?
They have jacuzzis full of beer, and then they pour beer in your mouth as you're sitting in a jacuzzi full of
Really?
beer. Yes.
I don't know if I would drink that though, because I'm in
No,
my
well, you don't
juices.
drink the juice
Okay,
that
good,
you're
good,
in.
good, good.
They pour fresh beer in your
Yeah.
I
mouth.
like that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm so excited to go back
There
to
we
Europe.
go.
Okay, final question comes from Team Super and 1D. In The Last Jedi, Rey's lightsaber was broken in half. What color do you think her new one will be? And will it be double bladed?
Man, there's
I
so
don't think
many
so.
assumptions happening
know,
there. How do we
I
know,
know.
she's going to get a new one?
Right?
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that I think she's going to rebuild that lightsaber because I think Rey
Mm,
will likely understand the importance and the history that kind of comes with that weapon
interesting.
and what it means to sort of the universe that she's been brought into. So I have a feeling that she will probably repair it to some extent.
You know what I just watched last night? Rewatched it. Abby had never seen it.
Hmm.
Gendy Tartakovsky's hand-drawn The Clone
It's
Wars
so
or Clone Wars,
good.
hour and 10 minutes long. And in that was I remember that was the first time I saw a lightsaber
Yeah.
being built.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the Mary Allen
Yep.
Jedi characters are like moving the
Where,
crystal
where
and
they're
putting
just
it together.
using the force to put together their
That's
lightsabers.
part of the trials.
Yeah.
Part of the
Build your
trials.
own lightsaber.
Wouldn't it be cool though if Rey built her own? Somehow.
That's what I was hoping this
and
movie
we
was
see
going to
it
be.
in live action. We see it. Instead
That's
of an
what I was
animated-
hoping The Last Jedi was going to
Yeah.
be. And it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like the symbology of so many things being just kind of like this is not what you thought
Yep.
it was gonna be.
Yep.
Luke's lightsaber was busted in. Well, Anakin's lightsaber was busted in half. You know, like
I
that's a
love that.
huge symbol. Like
I love it.
that's literally
Crack
saying
right in
this
half.
old shit. Boom, we're
Yeah.
done with it, dude.
That's true.
I think they're gonna
maybe
move
nothing
on.
will carry over.
I think honestly, she's gonna get, if she does get a lightsaber, it's probably gonna be something that we've probably never seen before. Like what's his
Kylo
name?
Ren's.
Ezra's lightsaber blaster combo.
right, which I thought was so dope.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really cool concept.
Could be
You
that.
know, maybe a unique color like a yellow lightsaber.
Could be something in line with her staff that she's
Could
had
be
this whole
something
time.
in line. Maybe she could have half staff, half like more of
Yeah.
a spear lightsaber. Like we don't know. Like I at this point like am not expecting anything.
Stop
from this-
speculating,
from
people.
this next.
Quit building up expectations.
We were promised absolutely zero.
right.
Yeah.
We weren't promised anything.
That
we
movie
were,
ends and you're like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. You're like, oh, all
See
right.
you in 2
all right.
years.
I know
Yeah.
there's another one coming out, so I'm looking forward to it. But I'm expecting absolutely zero, and I love it because whatever they hit me with, mwah, it's gonna be
Yep.
Pizza
Yeah.
Chef. I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. I got to mention the Avengers Infinity War trailer still going strong.
my
Over
God.
700,000
Thank you.
views. Thank you so
Our
much.
best video ever. Thank
Share
you.
it with your
crazy. So
friends.
share with your friends.
Share it with your
Make sure
family
you guys
over
are
the break.
subscribing on SoundCloud and on iTunes. Get the podcast. Share with your friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got one more episode coming out, and that's going to be a wrap until the second week of January, and then
Yeah,
we'll come
boy.
back strong. In the meantime, Hector, where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on the internet at Hector is funny.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
All the time.
Hector is funny, and then in parentheses, it's an ironic title. Agustin, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @L_Santo Taco.
And you just find me on all social media under Adam Hlavik. Guys, thank you again so much for your all support, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Hey, Santa, how come you never give presents to Jewish kids?
Hey,
huh?
shut up!
All right.
Wow. Real quick.
Real quick. All right,
We don't
Santa.
talk about that.
All right, Santa.